From Riverina Livestock Agents, I'm chatting here with James Tierney. How are you, James?
Good, thanks, Ricky. I'm just here at the Wagga saleyards. We've just finished selling the lambs here, actually.
All right, and how did the trade go today?
It's a bit cheaper, in line with what's sort of been happening. There was another pretty large yarding. There's 41,000. And look, there was a lot of good lambs here, but still there's the continued amount of secondary lambs, and it's a cheaper market today, particularly. I think heavy lambs are probably another $5 to $10 cheaper. They're anywhere from sort of $6.70 to $7.10 per kilo, and your trade lambs are more sort of probably $7.40 to $7.60 or $7.70 per kilo. So yeah, it's cheaper. Some of the secondary lambs aren't any cheaper than what they were last week, but generally a bit of a cheaper trend today.
Yeah, there's been a pullback there by the look of it. If the MLA 7-day rolling average is anything to go by, you're in the top four over that at 780, but obviously there's been a fallback to those prices you're saying came through today.
Yeah, there has. It has adjusted. Just seems to be plenty of numbers around. A lot of the abattoirs are fairly booked up, and the actual physical numbers in the sale yards continue to come. So getting towards the end of these old lands, but when that is, no one exactly knows.
Well, we've been trying to track. We've been expecting, isn't there, meant to be some sort of turnaround come as we start getting towards spring? It's hard to think of it as cold as it is at the moment, but isn't it meant to turn around at some point soon?
Well, we probably all thought it'd be happening now. Usually, it gets dearer through the winter, but there's just been so many lambs bought this year as stores and fattened that are coming back through. And just the old thing with the abattoirs and shortage of workers, they've only been, operating at probably 70 to 80%.
Yeah.
Just the numbers are built. That's really what's happened.
Yep. Well, let's swing across to the cattle front. I mean, that's been on a downward trend for a while nationally as well. Wagga again, the prices though in the top three in terms of average price, but how have they travelled this week?
Cows were pretty firm, which was good. It's hanging in there, and I think that's probably the key to the whole thing is where that sits. But our feeder cattle and restocking cattle, again, were cheaper on Monday. Feeder jobs probably 10 to 20 cents off, but secondary cattle more than that cheaper. There's some cattle that'll be 30 and 40 cents cheaper. So, yeah, it's certainly adjusting. I mean, it's still pretty good.
Yeah.
If you look at it over a 5-year average.
Absolutely.
But it's not. Some feeder cattle would now be 80 cents to $1 a kilo, cheaper than where they were 6 or 8 weeks ago. So, on 450 kilos, that means a fair bit, dollars-wise.
Now, when we talked last time a few weeks back, you did mention foot and mouth disease, and there may be a little bit of a ripple of sentiment there about that in the local markets. Has there been any more chatter about that around the place this week? Look,
there is a lot of talk about it, and I think there has been a bit of movement of stock due to it. Probably not so much with the sheep and lambs. I think cattle-wise, a little bit. Look, my view is that foot and mouth there's always been a risk of it coming from somewhere, and just because it's in Indonesia, it doesn't mean that it gets here. I mean, you could probably, I don't know. Everyone's going to have a different view on it. I mean, it was in England for a long time and didn't ever get through to Ireland. So just because it's in Indonesia, it doesn't mean it has to come here.
Yes, well, it does seem the governments of all levels are saying we're doing all the biosecurity checking, and one reason you're hearing about it is because we're looking thoroughly and telling you whenever we find something.
Well, I hope they are doing. I hope they practice what they preach, because I don't know what the answer is in regards to where people are allowed to go and not so much. But make sure that when people do come back from those places, that you do just have to burn your shoes and get a new set. Maybe that's the answer. But I hope that they are doing everything physically possible.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Well, James, if anyone wants to find out more from yourselves at Riverina Livestock Agents, I think it's, riverinaagents.com.au, they can get in touch.
They sure can, or on the Facebook site at RLA, yeah.
No worries. All right, thanks for your time today. Have a good weekend.
Thanks, Ricky. Good on you.